Yo guys, what's going on? Robert Warshack here, and we've got some new cards to cover. They're releasing these, they're pumping them out real quick with the reveals, so I'm trying to keep up. But we have the Gigafan. We talked about this when they first announced that with the Blood Vialfin, the Blood Scent Vialfin, if there is like another big Murloc printed and you can kind of like cheese them out early, that could be a combo that you use to make this card useful, because the last Murloc card that switched health and mana didn't really do too much, but now they printed one. So we have an 8 mana 7/4 Murloc, Colossal +1, devour all enemy minions, and death rattle, spin them back out. So obviously, if the guy dies, it's not good because everything you've gained just died, and he only has 4 health, which is not a ton, but his appendage is a 4/7 with taunt with a death rattle, permanently destroy all minions inside of the Gigafan. So ideally, you want this appendage to die before the actual Gigafan. It does have taunt attached to it. It's decently statted. This does not look that bad at all. Also, if he gets devolved or transformed, him being an 8 mana not really well statted and he clears the board, that's also a way to deal with him. So I don't know how much devolve or evolve there's going to be, but the fact that it is a death rattle on this guy, there are plenty of ways to not have to deal with that once he does die. Pretty powerful effect. This is basically an entire field clear. Also, I don't know how this card would work with cards like Hysteria. So if this Gigafan dies and the Maul die at the same time, like which one would trigger first? You know what I'm saying? So like a Twisting Nether, for example, like does the Maul die and then the Gigafan doesn't return everything, or does he return everything and then the Maul dies? So it'll be interesting to see the ordering of how this all works out. But yeah, really insane, big, chonky Murloc. The only thing about him is that 4 health mark is not a lot. And 8 mana is quite expensive, but again, he is like a field clear and he puts a decent amount of stats on board, right? It's just the 4/7 with taunt's good against minions, while he is weak to obviously just over the head spells, right? Taking a look at some more legendary stuff, we have the new legendary Mech Mage card. He's an 8 mana 5/7 Colossal +2, so 2 appendages on him. After a friendly mech attacks, deal 1 damage to all enemies, and his appendages are basically 3 mana 2/3 drills that he summons. So his basically hands, and they have rush, so they're able to immediately attack and proc his ability, which makes him do 1 damage to everything on your opponent's side of the board, including their face. So really, really good stuff here. This is like super powerful, right? Mana, not overly statted, decent effect, but not absolutely game ending. So we've seen that with multiple of the Colossus now, where it's not like the heroes and stuff that you pay, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana for some of the heroes or the Death Knights we used to have, and it's basically whoever plays it first wins, right? We're seeing these big minions, not super statted, strong abilities, but not actually super like defeating if played, right? So I'm liking the direction and the power level of the cards we're seeing right here, because again, whenever the rotations occur, that's normally Hearthstone's lowest power level, given that there's the least amount of cards in standard play at that time. All right, and we have one more legendary to cover, a Paladin legendary. We have the Lightblade. He's a 2 mana 2/3. After you cast a holy spell on this, cast it again on another friendly minion. So very, like, a 2 mana 2/3 is just good in stats, and his ability is actually just kind of insane. We've seen a card like this before. I think it was called like the Genie or something. It was like a 6 mana card, and whenever you target him with a spell or you target another minion, it would always hit him too. So you'd get like double buff. But the thing was, he was kind of expensive and he was like a neutral card. And it's just like much later in the game. When you play an early game card like this, and you start buffing it while buffing other minions in the early game, it is substantially more impactful than in the late game, because the late game, there's ways and resources and draw to deal with it, right? But when you're hovering around that like 4/3 mana point and you've got to deal with like 2 Divine Shield minions that are 4/4s or 5/5s, that's really hard to do unless you're like a priest and have Hysteria, right? So this card seems really good. Most of the Paladin cards that do buff are holy. I'm surprised that this guy doesn't have like the Naga tag on him. That's kind of interesting, given that he's like one of the, he looks kind of Naga-y. But regardless, I think this card's really good. I think this is a very aggressive buff Paladin card, and it looks like it's going to be quite annoying because you have to deal with this. And with Paladin, normally there's a lot of early game threats, especially like in the buff Paladin. and to have to target, like, you've got like 3 minions and all of them are high priority threats, it just becomes like really tough, right? But this guy is really good. Obviously, you just don't play him like out on turn 2 unless you think he's going to live or can give him Divine Shield immediately. But yeah, this seems like a really, really, really good card, and it does not cost a lot of mana, and it's already statted pretty competitively. So this looks like a fantastic buff Paladin card and will be played. We're definitely seeing a trait in regards to the last mini expansion or the adventure. We're definitely seeing some synergies between the last mini set that just came out and this current expansion card reveal so far. Paladins with holy spells, Murlocs are back, Mech Mages are coming along, so we'll have to see as the cards keep printing, and I'll keep updating. I'm sure there'll be more cards released later today, so there'll be probably another card review coming to you guys shortly with some new stuff as well. With that, thank you guys for watching. Of course, I'm Warshack, and happy whatever the hell day it is.